Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio. It's Mike Rostic. Did I get that close, Mike?
Yes, you did. It's perfect.
Good. Owner and food guide for Naperville Bites and Sights. We see you and your group walking around. You're sort of like the Pied Piper of Naperville. That's what I call you. How did this start? Well, you've been doing this now for 5 years.
It's hard to believe that I'm going on my 5th year. And I started, and as corny as this is going to sound, okay, one of those aha moments, I took, my kids gave me, for my birthday, they gave me a ticket to the Chicago Food Planet. Downtown Chicago has this great food tour. Mm-hmm. And so my wife and myself went on the tour. It was a 3-hour tour. And, I love history. I love to walk. I grew up in Chicago, and the history of Chicago is so great. And it was just a neat tour. As we were tasting the different foods, I also went to some of the odd spots in the city, like Oz Park, mm-hmm. It's where Frank Baum, he's the guy who wrote Wizard of Oz. And it was just pretty amazing. And my wife finally turned to me and said, you could do this in Naperville. And it was just one of those aha moments. I just remember going like that, you're right. I'm going to do that. So I called the owner of the Chicago Food Planet, and oddly enough, he did have a little class, how to start your own food tour in your own city. Mm-hmm. And so I took the class. I was probably one of the first students because there wasn't a lot, people doing this. So it is amazing now in the 5th year how huge this organization, these food tour groups are, and just across all the different cities and states. You could go to New Orleans, Savannah, Charleston, and all of them have food tours. And a lot of them all kind of started from the Chicago Food Planet.
That's awesome. Well, I think you're absolutely right. I agree that aha moment was perfect for you because Naperville has a nice history. Who doesn't like to walk? And we all like to eat. Tell me a little bit where your tour starts and where you wander through a little bit and where you end up.
Okay. Well, we start at the 5th Avenue station, and right there is such a historical spot because that was the old Kraler Furniture mm-hmm. Factory, and then you start reading the history about that building, and it is amazing, yes. Right? And then people just don't know this stuff, and it's amazing. I have people that have been living here. I've lived here for 45 years, and I didn't know half the stuff that you told us on this tour. So really kind of neat. That kind of inspires me even more to really get this going. But so we start there. And then right in that area, you have, one of the oldest delis. It's mm-hmm. a 5th generation family. Sure. The Kreger's Deli is still there. And so...
Do they get a brat?
We do get a brat. And
awesome.
I talk, and then I kind of pull back the curtain a little bit in each of these places we go to, by the way. It's not like we're just eating and then going. Mm-hmm. We're actually talking about the family who owns this, why they own it, when they started. And so we kind of get into that. Sometimes when the Kregers are there, they'll come out and say something. And because I always try to get the owners to come out and talk, they interact with the crowd, because that's the crowd really likes that. So you really get a little more history. And then I also tie in, the Chicago was a meatpacking, capital of the world. Mm-hmm. And, people from Germany and Eastern Europe came here to make sausage. I mean, we have Oscar Mayer and all. So I really get into that part of the history of it. And again, people are just really amazed. And then we go to, Razio's, which is just one of those old, again, another family-run pub that's been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And people go, boy, I lived here all my life. I didn't know this place was here. So I really try to make a balance of some good food. Definitely, I notice with the food trends, I kind of incorporate that a little bit to the food trends. Mm-hmm. And getting people a little bit more aware of what they're eating and, watch the preservatives. So I've noticed over the last couple of years my food tours get, trending a little bit more towards that. Farm to table.
Right.
Start looking at, when you pull out a can of soup, start looking at ingredients. You have more than 15 ingredients in your food, put it back. Mm-hmm. Start looking more organically. And that kind of is the trend I've noticed. And people do. So when we go to Kreger's, there's no preservatives in their meat. Okay. When we go to Razio's, all their soup is made homemade. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I bring that kind of stuff up. All right. And then we get to Quigley's. We do an Irish A-roll, so I get a little more ethnic, involvement in some things. Then we go to the chocolate shop, and we talk about the history of chocolate. where it comes from, the health benefits of chocolate. I focus more on the health benefits of chocolate, of cacao.
We feel less guilty that way. You're absolutely right, but we still feel less guilty.
So that's kind of, the way we go. And people, I talk, we have I have like the cacao pod, where it actually comes from. And, we have some little diagrams they show. And people are pretty amazed. So again, it's a little more history and discovery of more consciousness of what the food that we are eating. And then same thing with the olive oil. We go into the twisted olive and we start talking about how olive oil is made. And the difference then of cold press, you hear that extra virgin olive oil. What does that mean versus olive oil? So we really go into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of some of the stuff. And then, of course, life is balance, right?
Sure.
Yin and yang, I tell people, because we do end up with cookie dough, ice cream, and then pizza, right? So, I mean...
Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad you're covering all the major food groups there, Mike. Length of this tour is
It's 3 hours.
3 hours?
The length, so it's 3 hours, and the length is, we usually don't tell people how many miles, because they might go, oh my God, but it is 2 miles.
Yeah.
It's a little over 2 miles, and then they have to walk back, because we don't end up at the train station. We end up, at the last food stop, and they have to walk theirself way back, which is about, 7 blocks, so it's not that bad. But why I do that is then I also, I want people to linger, because really after the tour, people really want to kind of hang around. And kind of go back to some of the places. Each of the vendors that are on my tour, I have a program that I hand out. It tells us exactly where we're going, and then they have coupons in there. So all the vendors have little coupons that they could use and go back, 10% off for this. If you buy 1 bottle of olive oil, you get another bottle free, whatever it is. And then I can encourage them, hey, use your coupons, and if you have some time, if it's a beautiful day. And most people do, I notice, kind of hang around and go back. So it's good for the vendors, because they know that, people are just curious, so they just like to make sure they go back. I try not to allow the shopping when we're in there.
Right.
Because, then my 3-hour tour would be like maybe a 5-hour tour.
Right. So this runs basically April to December?
April to December, yeah.
On weekends or weeknights?
So I do it on Saturdays and Sundays. They start at 11:30. We usually end by 3. Okay. And so that's Saturday and Sunday. Interesting, what's been happening over the years is I'm now getting people that want to do private tours. I have bus groups. I've had senior groups on buses. So I'll do ones during the week. I'll make a special tour during the week. So I do those. Those I need a little bit ahead of time, because then sometimes the food vendors you need to have set up. But I try to avoid the lunchtime and the evening time, because I'm bringing a group of 15 people. And the heart of lunch hour, it could be a little. Now we're only in any of these places for 20 minutes, so we're not lingering. I'm in there, we talk, and then we go to the next place. So it's kind of it moves along, right?
Well, it sounds terrific, Mike, and you strike me as a very fun and able guide. So as we go on this walking history and food tour. So thanks for stopping by. We look forward to seeing you and your group throughout Naperville this summer. You
have to come on. I'll have to invite the TV station to come on.
Right, and we can join you for all that fun. We're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.